The Philippines and other climate-vulnerable countries across regions have agreed to work together to initiate actions that will speed up efforts towards fighting climate change by limiting temperature increases. Climate Change Commission Acting Deputy Executive Director Jocelyn Goco said the Manila Communique, which is the output of the just concluded meeting entitled the Climate Vulnerable Forum, met by the senior officials held in Manila, emphasized the importance of national action while calling for greater global commitments to respond to the needs of the most vulnerable countries. Added details from Elena Luna.
In the upcoming APEC summit, senior officials representing countries participating in the Climate Vulnerable Forum in Manila are expecting leaders of member economies to prioritize climate change in their agenda.
What should be considered is really the governments to mainstream climate change into their development plans, programs, and policies, so that the planning process should be looking at anticipating what could probably happen instead of doing the business as usual thing, because currently science already has proven that there is real climate change. There is an increasing in temperature as well as in precipitation.
According to the official from UNDP, or the United Nations Development Program, the Philippines is a good example of climate resilient development.
So last year, I think December, the Typhoon Hagupit, for example, the death toll was, I think official death toll was 18 people, compared to Haiyan, which was over 6,000 people death toll. So it shows very clearly that if you invest in building resilience, through different means, and you can reduce the loss and damage, to lives and to the economy and to people's properties. And I think we need to recognize that governments, in the Philippines is a very good example. The governments have made a lot of progress over the last few years in terms of economic growth and poverty reduction.
Taking part in the two-day Sherpa senior officials meeting in Manila are representatives from Germany, Costa Rica, and Bangladesh. The forum is committed to trigger actions that will accelerate progress towards the goal of limiting global warming below 1.5 degrees Celsius.
This was a very significant conference taking place here because the forum until this time has involved 20 countries, and 23 additional countries came to this meeting here in Manila, and expanding through to Paris, the number of countries actually involved here. Until this date, there were 104 countries actually that support 1.5 formally, and 4 additional countries that joined the meeting here have brought that up to 108 countries. There's building momentum for the 1.5 goal. Hundreds and hundreds of civil society organizations also support the goal. It seems that it will become increasingly difficult for the Paris conference to take the option of 1.5 off the table, but it does have to be decided there in Paris.
The event in Paris, France is the 21st conference of parties to the UN Framework Convention on Climate Change, where leaders are expected to attend, including President Aquino.
We're still awaiting for the final decision of the President on whether he will be attending the leaders event on the 30th of November. That's the head of state event, where currently I think there are about 100 head of states from the different governments who already confirmed their participation in that event.
The Philippines is currently the president of the Climate Vulnerable Forum. To better remember their 1.5 degrees Celsius campaign, participants of the forum demonstrated their hand signal. For the People's Television, Elena Luna.